So many snacks, so little time.
There are few things in this world that people are more passionate about than their snack food. And just like when our favorite TV show is canceled, we get angry and demand it to be brought back. So see if your missing munchies are on this list of top 10 discontinued snacks that need to be brought back. Reese's Elvis Cups.
I believe I can bring him back.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are truly one of the kings of the candy world, so it only makes sense that they would have created a special edition of their snack to honor the king of rock and roll himself, Elvis Presley. It also makes sense given that Elvis is famous for his love of peanut butter and banana sandwiches. If you've never tried them, they are actually quite tasty. And with Reese's already deep into the peanut butter game, adding banana to their cups was really a no-brainer. Picture the classic Reese's cup with an added layer of banana cream to go along with the peanut butter, all inside the iconic chocolate cup. Our mouths are watering just thinking about them.
There you go, Elvis. Peanut butter and bananas.
But alas, they were only around for about a year in 2007. So unless we finally perfect that time machine we've been working on, this craving will just have to go unsatisfied. Why the company hasn't made them a yearly tradition and released them every year on Elvis's birthday is beyond us. Although if they did, with such a limited window of availability, we all might just binge our way into looking like Elvis from his Las Vegas days. It would be totally worth it though.
I have a dream.
JELL-O 1, 2, 3.
Ted, honey, don't play with your food.
We are going way back in snack food history for this one. All the way back to 1969 when Neil Armstrong was setting foot on the moon and JELL-O gave the world their 1, 2, 3. This wasn't the JELL-O we all know and love today. Well, actually it was the JELL-O we know today, but that was only 1/3 of this amazing creation the company put out. 1967 saw the Summer of Love and Woodstock happened in 1969. It was a time when people were coming together in ways the world hadn't seen before. And the same is true when it came to JELL-O 1, 2, 3, as 3 layers of JELL-O were brought together to create peace, harmony, and love. And gelatin. So what was it exactly? Well, Kraft called this amazing creation gelatin with 2 toppings. Except you didn't have to make 3 different JELL-Os because JELL-O made them for you. All you had to do was add the boiling water and then put it in the fridge for a few hours. While in the fridge, the magic JELL-O fairy would come and divide the mixture into 3 layers. A gelatin layer topped with a custard layer, all underneath a spongy layer of yumminess. How did they do it?
How do you know it was me?
We probably don't want to know. All we want is for JELL-O to bring it back.
You put my stuff in JELL-O again.
3D Doritos.
The new containing out Doritos!
Doritos?
Doritos is famous for their seemingly constant release of new chip flavors. But with 3D Doritos, it wasn't about the flavor, but a whole new shape they were going with. Rather than the same old flat triangle, 3D Doritos puffed them up to create a 3-dimensional triangle. This newfangled version kind of looked like Doritos and Bugles had a chip baby that was puffy, crunchy, and nacho cheese flavored. The 3D Doritos launched with a big marketing campaign behind them in 1998, but only a few years later, in the early 2000s, they had disappeared from store shelves. Why, Doritos, why?
You ask too many questions.
While there are definitely many of us who were big fans of the chip, it wasn't enough to save them from discontinuation. Not for lack of trying by fans, though, who have continued to send the company letters and messages on social media asking them to please bring back the 3D goodness. At this point, it doesn't appear to be in the cards, but there is a silver lining for 3D Dorito fans. Or should we say a green, white, and red lining? While the snack is no longer available in North America or almost anywhere else in the world, they are still producing 3D Doritos for the Mexican market. If you don't feel like making a trip to Mexico just for a bag of chips, there are people who have claimed to be able to find the item on eBay. So you could look there before trying to make any major travel plans.
How do we get them?
Eggo Waf-Fulls.
You have to pay for those. Stop right there. Beef.
Yes, the name does sound very much like awful, especially if you say it fast enough. Eggo Waf-Fulls, Eggo Waf-Fulls, Eggo Waf-Fulls.
All right, I think we can move on.
But these Eggo concoctions were anything but. These amazing Waf-Fulls were no ordinary Eggo. They were stuffed with strawberry filling and were, to quote at least one fan who misses them greatly, out of this world good. And how could they not be crazy good? Everyone knows that you only make something better when you stuff it with sweet fruit filling, right? Sure, a few strawberries baked into a waffle is good, but a waffle filled to the edges with strawberries is so much better. We don't know why these didn't work at the time, but all we can assume is that the world just wasn't ready for such an amazing addition to their breakfast plates. Not only should Eggo definitely bring this one back, but they should add a blueberry one and a chocolate stuffed one to the line as well. And while we understand where the name comes from, they might want to look at changing that as well. It just doesn't sound so tasty when rolling off the tongue.
Don't you dare.
Planters cheese balls.
They were my favorite treat. I literally would have my mom have to like pry the can out of my hands.
Those who thought that Planters only did peanuts obviously haven't tried their delicious cheese balls. Back in the 1980s, the home of Mr. Peanut stepped away from their salty nuts to give the world some cheesy balls. And it worked. People loved them instantly.
So delicious.
And for anyone who grew up in the 1990s, these orange balls of cheese were a snack staple. And while things looked good heading into the 21st century, in 2006, Planters discontinued the cheese balls for some wistful and unknown reason. But fans of the snack were not going to give up that easily. For the next 12 years, cheese ball lovers petitioned the company to bring their favorite snack back, and eventually, Planters did exactly that. In 2018, Planters brought the cheese balls back, although now new and improved, and made them available on Amazon and at some Walmart locations. But before you run out to get some, we should probably tell you that this re-release was a limited run only, and you will have to do some searching to find any canisters still available, if you can find any at all. The good news is that unlike other snacks on this list, there are plenty of other brands of cheese balls on the market. So while it may not be the Planters version, there are other options to satisfy your desire for a puffed ball of cheese-flavored snacking goodness. Philadelphia snack bars.
Ooh, Philly snack bar.
Of course, we all know the Philadelphia brand for making the greatest cream cheese in the world. And while many of us have probably grabbed a spoon to eat the stuff like it's a snack, that isn't what we are talking about here. We are talking about that ridiculously delectable and decadent snack the wonderful minds at the company created back around the turn of the 21st century. Philadelphia snack bars were meant to simulate a cheesecake and consisted of a graham cookie topped with a whole load of cream cheese and a filling, such as strawberry. They also had chocolate chip, plain, marble brownie, etc. If you don't remember these treats, then there might be a hole in your snack soul that will never be filled, unless they bring them back one day. And currently, it doesn't seem like there's any chance of that happening anytime soon. But the good news is that in addition to all the petitions and fan sites dedicated to getting Philadelphia to re-release these little wonders, there's also a whole lot of websites and videos featuring recipes attempting to replicate these snacks at home. So it might not be an exact match, but you should still be able to get pretty close to the cheesecake snack bar so many of us still crave to this day. PB Crisps.
Dedicated to helping animals who can't help themselves.
How does this sound? Sweet peanut buttercream inside, crispy cookie outside. Yep, it sounds pretty amazing, and makes us even sadder that the PB Crisps have gone the way of so many other delectable snacks. The PB Crisps were brought into the snack world back in the early 1990s by Planters. Known for their peanuts, it only made sense that Planters would look at expanding their snack game with a peanut-based option. What made these treats so much fun? The crispy cookie shell was made into the shape of a peanut, which was then filled with creamy peanut butter, making for a great bite-size option for when your daily snack attack would come around. They even had chocolate crisps and PB&J crisps. But unfortunately, what seemed like an automatic snack home run back in 1992 ended up striking out and was pulled from the game just 3 years later in 1995. Although that hasn't stopped fans from begging Planters to bring them back.
It's right.
Sorry, but no.
You might assume sales didn't meet Planters' expectations, and that is why the snack was discontinued. However, according to the Planters wiki page, the reason the PB Crisps were taken off the shelves was that they were too delicious. We assume that part was added by a superfan and not anyone related to the Planters organization. PB Max. Given how perfect peanut butter and chocolate go together, we do miss the PB Max. As you can probably guess, the PB in PB Max stands for peanut butter.
Now that was a mistake.
This creation from the Mars Company came out in the late 80s, early 90s, and consisted of a whole grain cookie topped with creamy peanut butter, and then the whole thing is encased in milk chocolate. Really, what is there not to like about that? Nothing, of course. And if the sales were any indication, the public thought the PB Max was as delicious as it sounds. The PB Max did very well and racked up over $50 million in sales. So why did it go away almost as quickly as it arrived? Well, according to a former executive at the Mars Company, the Mars family didn't like peanut butter, so despite the great sales numbers, they discontinued it. That might be the craziest reason for discontinuing a product that we have ever heard of. Come on, they didn't have to eat it. They just had to take in all the profits from everyone else eating it. And yet, their distaste for peanut butter was so strong that they just couldn't have one of their products associated with the stuff. Madness.
Wait, no, that's ridiculous.
Yogos.
How much? Excuse me?
While many of the items on this list are variations or flavor versions of still available snacks, that is sadly not the case with this amazing item. Yogos was a whole category unto itself, and one that we wish would come back, and soon. Yogos were a Kellogg's creation that consisted of small balls of fruit covered in yogurty goodness. It almost sounds too healthy to be a snack, but that's even more of a reason to bring them back in this day and age, where folks are trying to cut down on the junk food in their diets.
This seems unnecessary to me. You're all in perfect shape.
The box hyped the snacks as being a good source of calcium and vitamin C. These little bites of fruity and yogurt heaven came in a whole host of flavors, from strawberry slam to crazy berries and everything in between. Like many discontinued snacks, Yogos has a pretty big and dedicated fan base who have set up campaigns and petitions to try and get Kellogg's to bring back their beloved childhood snack. But as of this moment, Yogos is still only available as a snack memory for those who were lucky enough to have tried them back in the day.
I'm really gonna miss you.
Altoids Sours.
What's going on in this candy-coated heart of darkness?
People seem to like sour candies as much as they like spicy food, which is a lot. It feels like almost every candy brand has introduced a sour version of their snack at one point or another, and Altoids are no exception. According to some folks on the internet, the curiously strong mints you know as Altoids today don't hold a candle to the previous incarnation of the little treats, particularly the sour ones. In 2014, Altoids introduced their sour mints, and right out of the gate, they gave us 5 flavors: raspberry, lime, apple, tangerine, and mango. People may have argued about what the best flavor was, but they all seem to agree that these sour treats were an amazing experience to behold, and a real visceral experience. The extreme sourness caused mega pucker face on all those who tried them, and that appears to have been half the fun of these things. One fan commented online about how they preferred the Altoids Sours over the traditional mint, even though they burned the roof of your mouth. Just like how customers love testing the limits of their spice tolerance, they like taking sour to the extreme as well. And there's certainly a lot of folks who miss these mints very much.
I don't get it.
In fact, since being discontinued in 2010, many Facebook pages, Reddit threads, and online petitions have been set up to get Wrigley to bring them back. Some people crave them so much that you can find them buying unopened tins on eBay for $100. How much is a puckered up sour face really worth? snack on another great video. Just tap that screen. First time here, then hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell.